Hi, and welcome to The Expeditionist. I'm Ralph Iantosca. I consider myself a travel veteran, having been in the industry since 1990. I want to share some really great conversations with some of my travel partners who I just adore. I want to show you a much different way to travel, enjoying local cultures, wildlife, conservation, and sustainability. I want to give you access to a whole new world just waiting for you to have us help you explore. Hi, everyone, and welcome to The Expeditionist. This is episode number 7. And today I have my friend Catherine Held, who is the founder of a company called Remote Lands with me. Hi, Catherine. Welcome.
Hi,
I'm so glad
Ralph.
you're sharing your time with me today.
Oh, I'm delighted. This is
Thank
fun.
you. Yeah, it is fun. We've been friends for a really long time, and I've always been one of your biggest fans
Oh,
yeah, no, I mean, I love what you do very much. And so I always get into things. I like to share these conversations with my listeners and my clients. So you and I, we work together and we have these great conversations. And if someone was on the street or someone just came up to us and they started eavesdropping, they want to be part of our conversation. Who are you? What do you do? What is this all about? And everyone's always intrigued with us. So I decided to create this podcast so that we could share really special experiences with our listeners. And I wanted to expose my relationships because I think they're really epic and fun. And I love what we have together and the hard work we do together behind the scenes. And I just think it's fun to bring things to light. So welcome. Um, yeah, when did you start your company?
20 years ago. This year is our 20th anniversary, which is really exciting.
Yeah,
And
congratulations.
it's been a lot of blood, sweat, and tears that has gotten us to this point where we are today.
Hmm.
And a lot of difficult times. We had the GFC, the global financial crisis in 2008. Of course, we had the pandemic. It's and then
SARS.
at SARS, a lot of ups and downs in the world, but
Yeah, but here we are,
here
kicking
we
ass and
are,
taking
and
names,
things
right?
are great now.
I love it. So how do you describe your ethos? Like, how do you describe who you are and what you do?
Well, it's a whole team. We're based in New York, Bangkok, and Tokyo. We live and breathe Asia. We think about it all day, every day, talk about it. We're constantly learning new things about Asia. Asia changes, but even without changes, there's still always so much more. So I always say the more I know, the less I know, because you could go to Asia 1,000 times and you've still only scratched the surface. And but that's what makes it so exciting, so
I agree.
vibrant, so different from
Mhm,
any other continent.
mhm. What are
So,
some of your favorite places personally that you love to travel to?
well, Japan is my special place, and I've been studying Japanese since the pandemic. It gave me something to do and focus on and get my mind off. So I've been to Japan dozens and dozens of times, and I keep going more and more off the beaten path, more and more into these little rural areas, small towns. And one of the things about Japan is there are amazing ryokans and hotels like in the middle of nowhere in
Nice.
Japan, which is not the case in many other countries in Asia. So there's always more to do. My dog, who comes to work with me in the office every day, her name is Bhutan.
Oh,
Bhutan is also one of my favorite countries.
mine
It's just
too.
it's just so spiritual and
Mhm.
so peaceful. The people are incredible. They're so warm and kind and loving, and of course it's physically beautiful. And these very spiritual countries, in most cases, they are Buddhist countries. Of course, Japan is also Shinto at the same time. But I love a lot of countries like that. I love countries in the Himalayas. So, of course, Bhutan, also Nepal, Himalayan India. These are all wonderful places. But of course, Southeast Asia, all of Southeast Asia, Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, Thailand. We used to do a lot of Myanmar,
I miss
but
that. I went in 2007 to Myanmar and I still think about it all the time. What a crazy country. I just, with what they've been
yeah,
through. Yeah, my first trip in 2007 there, I went to Yangon and then we went up to on the road to Mandalay, and we went to Bagan and I remember all those temples and pagodas and I just remember like the balloons and the
Hmm.
bougainvillea and like just the culture. There were soft, beautiful people. I really loved that. I felt like I traveled. I felt like I don't know where I was and I didn't want to come home. And it was just such a special experience. That river was amazing, and I just really loved that. Those so remote lands. Like, when did you pick that name, remote lands? Because I think that's such a perfect fit for what you do.
Yes, well, from the very beginning, and the URL was available, so that helped too. We're just remotelands.com. So that was I wanted a name that was evocative of who we are. I didn't have the word Asia in it, although I could have. Our tagline is Seek the Soul of Asia.
That's great.
So it's really about feeling the spirituality of Asia, which you, of course, described in Myanmar,
And
and yeah,
Bhutan and
and
Laos,
Bhutan, yeah,
especially
exactly.
Laos. I thought Laos was amazing too.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. And just
Hmm.
going below the surface.
Hmm.
Traveling to Asia is not just a superficial experience where, oh, stay in a nice hotel, eat good food. I mean, of course,
It's
shop.
complicated. It's
I
very
mean,
complicated too. There's so many different cultures and there's so many different languages. It's overwhelming to me. And I find like I kind of start to shut down. For me to figure it out on my own is um is a bit challenging. Like I can do it on my own, but I feel unsettled. I feel like I'm really growing at the same time. But when people like you are there to meet me and have a sign and I have someone who can translate and just follow me and go here and go there, because one time I was in Hong Kong and I was in this back alley with some friends. We were at a virtuoso event and they all wanted to go buy knockoffs and they wanted me to go with them. And by the time we got to this building, I thought I would end up in a bathtub full of ice with my kidneys removed. I don't know where we were. Everything looked the same. It was like, those movies. And then, we have like here people and all these great guides and people who just whisk you and make it seamless. It was like, oh my God, where are you? I will love you. Thank you, and give you time to actually learn and
mhm.
I love to learn and I always promote education. I think it's really important. What are some of the most interesting things that you've learned over the years that you didn't know you would fall in love with that you just have to be part of and you can't put down?
Well, first of all, I want to say I completely agree with you about the learning aspect. To me, the whole point of travel is to learn and to grow, to get out of your comfort zone
Mhm.
and to to educate yourself. And of course, that's why we're in the travel industry in the first place. There are so many different amazing experiences to be had. And as you said, having a guide who leads you to the good stuff, who explains what you're seeing. If you can look at a building and it might look like absolutely nothing, but once you hear the story behind it, then that brings it to life. And it's those stories that really educate you and make you learn, make you grow, and learning the history, learning about the cultures and the people and how they live. That's why we travel, right?
Yeah, it's fun to see how people live around the world. I always say I want to know your version of what we have. Right? Because it's like whether it's a dumpling or it's, like every culture seems to have their same version of like their dumpling or their pasta or their vegetables or whatever. But it's fun. I love the spin on it all. I love to taste things and I love to dive in. Somebody came up with a word a long time ago that I fell in love with too. It's called culturious. And I've just kind of hijacked it. I love to be culturious. I think it's one of my favorite things. But on your recent trips, like learning Japanese has been something that you love, but what are some other things that in Asia that have brought you really a lot of joy and happiness that you are really attached to now and really learning about?
Well, I love getting off the beaten path. And that's when I feel like I'm really in the country.
Hmm.
So, of course, the cities are great too, but even in a city you can get off the beaten path and have a really extraordinary exchange with somebody you didn't know previously, and that can be really nurturing. And I love your curiosity, Ralph, because without curiosity, then you just stagnate as a human.
Yeah, I mean, after 36 years of doing this, I feel like it's the first day, you know? I mean, when I find these itineraries and I find these travel partners and they're overturning over stones and they're bringing me over to look what is underneath the stone, I'm sucked into and I want to bring my travelers over. And so often I worked in Dallas for a really long time, 27 years. And I had the best time with the people that I worked for there. They were really fun, but they weren't always intrepid. You know, they were kind of nervous. I mean, the ones that I served and worked for. And over time, they eventually opened up and started to explore, and now they're big explorers, and so it's fun. So I'm interested in some new destinations with them, and I wanted to talk to you about that. Have you been to Mongolia?
Only twice.
Only
But
twice.
but I love Mongolia. It's the size of Western Europe, and with a tiny population, because of course a lot of it is desert.
Hmm.
So it's hard for people and animals to live in parts of it, in the desert parts, particularly like in the Gobi. But the Mongolians are Buddhist again, and they're so warm and kind, and there is a lot of variety in Mongolia. So you have the desert, but then you have very lush green valleys and beautiful areas. You have the mountains, the Altai Mountains, and you have the eagle hunters. So it's very cool. It has an amazing history. If you think about Genghis Khan, I mean, he conquered much of the world.
Right.
So so that's really interesting. The Great Wall of China was built to keep the Mongols out, of course. So
Is there still a lot of travel from American standpoint to China right now?
to China, so that's really interesting. China was closed pretty much for 4 years during the pandemic. It was
Right.
closed longer than anywhere else. All of a sudden, China is roaring back.
Wow.
So we're getting a ton of China requests. And China, you wouldn't necessarily know this. I don't mean you, but people. It's physically absolutely stunning as a country. There's so much variety, there's so many places to go. We're actually, Lydia, whom you know, and Clarissa, they're actually leading the Aman jet expedition across China right now.
Wow.
And that started in Beijing, and then today they did a touchdown at Xi'an to see the Terracotta Warriors, just a day touchdown, and then they flew on to Hangzhou to Aman Fayoum. After this, they're going for 3 nights. So it's 3 nights at each of the Amans in Beijing, Shanghai, Hangzhou, and Lijiang, with day touchdowns, like I said, at the Terracotta Warriors in Xi'an. Then they do the pandas in Chengdu, and then they
And
go
is
to,
that for the day in Chengdu?
yes, to see the pandas, because there's no Aman there. Um, so yet, at least. And then going to one of my favorite places that is not very well known in China is Wulingyuan, which is the Avatar Forest.
Wow. And where is that?
It's sort of in central China. It is physically stunning. You just can't believe there are thousands of these karst rock formations that are crazy. And then the Chinese have built they built the longest glass bridge. And
I've
you're
seen
like,
it on Instagram.
yeah, it's unbelievable. And then these glass walkways that cling to the sides of the karst rock formations. It's crazy. So I highly recommend it.
Yeah. There's might be some listeners that aren't that familiar with Aman. You know, it's one of our favorite brands that we like to work with. And I mean, they've just really expanded around the world and have these epic experiences. How would you describe an Aman experience to someone who's never stayed in one or doesn't know what it is?
Well, I've been lucky enough, just to tell you the backstory. back in 2013, I got a call from Aman saying, we see what some other private jet expeditions are doing. We should have our own Aman private jet expeditions. Would you operate them for us? So I said, hello, yes. And so since then, we've done about 35,
That's great.
actually at Amans all over the world. And the way I would describe Aman, so I'm an old time Aman junkie. When I lived in Hong Kong from 87 to 94, my next door neighbor was Adrian Zecca, who was the original founder of Aman and quite a visionary, well ahead of his time. And his concept was that when you stay at an Aman, you're staying it's like a private home. Everybody knows your name. You're never given a bill until the end.
Right.
Um, but you can do whatever you want, and you're just treated so well. You're treated like a real house guest. And they've been true to that. Their service really is unparalleled. Most hotels you go into, people do not know your name, but the Amans are small enough. A lot of them are only like 20, 30 rooms. And but even the bigger ones, like Aman Tokyo and Aman New York here, that have about 84 rooms, even there everybody knows your
Isn't
name.
it funny that you said a bigger one with 84 rooms?
Yeah,
Isn't that
yes,
great? I love that.
yes. So that and also the architecture of every single Aman is completely different,
Hmm.
and it's suited for and the local country. So if you go to Lijiang in Western China in Yunnan province, the architecture is like the old courtyard houses in China.
Beautiful.
And in Thailand, Amanpuri is like Thai, it's Thai architecture. And
I
well,
like the one in Laos. I was in Luang Prabang and it was an old hospital that had been converted, so I thought it was
yes,
great.
yeah,
Mhm.
which is really interesting architecture in its own way.
Yeah, I was also at Aman Jannah in Marrakesh one time.
Oh yeah, I love
That
that
was
too.
stunning, especially at night with it all lit up. And I was also at the Aman in Turks and Caicos.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know why I can't remember what the name of that one is, but yeah,
Amanyara.
Aman Yara. Yeah. And I like the one in Jackson Hole, Wyoming too. You know,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. It's interesting. They have these destinations and views and where they sit. And I really appreciate being there. I like it very much. It's very interesting. It's unlike anything else I've ever known.
Yeah, well, a lot of other hotel groups, um, they or chains, everywhere you are, it's you could be anywhere.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. I like to have a unique experience and I like to be, have very interesting staff that want to visit with you and they're not just doing their job, they're truly engaged. I think that's really special. Um,
Yeah.
when you organize a private jet trip, so when you go to put those together, you use different kind of aircrafts, and I like that they're very small amount of passengers on your trips. So
Hmm.
recently you used, I think that's the Airbus 319. Is that the one?
That's what we usually use, a 319.
And how many are on board?
Um, a maximum of 16
Wow.
passengers,
But when
plus
it's
the
full,
fourth.
it's like 140
Well, if
by a commercial
it's been,
airline.
yeah, we've refitted these, not me personally,
Mhm.
but we've refitted these 319s, which would normally have, yeah, 140 seats. But in this case, we have 19 captain's chairs or sofas
Nice. That's
and a
wonderful.
bedroom and bathroom. And
I love it. So, what would one expect when they fly on board that plane if they've never done a private jet and they're considering one and they want to maybe take a tour? What would be like like your Vietnam, Cambodia, Thailand private jet program? Like, what would that entail?
so, do you mean the jet itself or the,
Just the whole experience and the jet. Yeah.
well, your, a lot of people book the Amman jet expeditions because each couple or solo gets their own private car driver and guide every day. So that's a big differentiating factor because most of the other expeditions, you're put in vans or buses with other people and you have a fixed itinerary. But Aman junkies, Aman guests, want to be able to do their own thing. And that's sort of the secret to our success. So you're not, you get enough time on your own and you get to do what you want. If if you're really into photography, you want to go slowly, or if you're into food or shopping or art or whatever it is, you can do that in whatever city or town you're in. And but at night, a lot of the nights we come together and we have really cool special experiences. Like your clients who traveled with us recently, we took over the second biggest temple in Siem Reap, a 1,000-year-old ancient Khmer temple, and we had we lit it all up with amazing light, with a light show. We had hundreds of dancers and musicians performing and just had a really, really memorable dinner under the stars. And so that's
You
one
work so
example.
hard. Oh my gosh, you pull so many beautiful things together and you have the most incredible relationships locally. I just love that. That's very special, you know?
What
Um,
takes years to develop. But
Absolutely. Yeah, but I love that because my clients came back just raving about that trip. Um, so what were some of the other highlights on that trip that you loved very much?
oh, in at Amantaka in Luang Prabang, we had everyone's wedding vows renewed. So we all got dressed up in traditional royal Lao wedding costumes and had a royal Lao wedding.
Beautiful.
Did your clients tell you about that?
They did. They
That
loved it
was
very much.
that was really, really special
Hmm.
because you when you just first hear, oh, have your wedding vows renewed, but once you get into the spirit of it with the dress, and we had photographers, videographers, then and of course you're with your spouse having your vows renewed, that's a really special experience.
Beautiful.
And we've done that in Bhutan also, and that's really beautiful. You wear the go and the kira. So the photos and the memories just live on forever. It's
That's
really,
beautiful.
yeah, really beautiful.
I think one of the things I love about your private jet program is that there's no security lines and big airport congestions. And, you know, when
Right.
they want to go, you just go, right? I mean,
Yeah.
16 people getting on a jet and off you go. I mean, it was how long before you get to the airport and you're just right onto the plane and out you go. It's so ideal for those travelers who can and want to do special things like that. I always promote on my celebrations program for people celebrating an anniversary or
Hmm.
a graduation or some kind of milestone. I always think that the Aman jet trips are really lovely. You know, it's just something that if you can do it, you should do it. I think definitely. But going back to like the regular traveler, like that's not a jet traveler, right? Let's say you're like me.
Or
And,
me.
or yeah, and we want to just do a trip and you've never been to Asia. I get this question all the time. So I just want to see what you think about it. If they've never been to Asia before and they want to go, where do they start? Because how many countries are there, right? It's crazy. Where would you start? What do you want to do?
Well,
Like,
Asia 101, start in Thailand.
hmm.
Thailand is very accessible. It has amazing five-star hotels, wonderful restaurants, very accessible culture, but it's very exotic at the same time. So I would start there for the first time, maybe maybe add on Vietnam, or add on Siem Reap to see Angkor Wat. So those would be probably the first place. Or Bali is very accessible. It's hard to not love Bali. My other dog is named Bali, so my
So
dogs are Bali.
Bhutan and Bali, I love them.
And the one before that was Burma, actually.
Oh, how
So
cute. Oh, I love that. Yeah, my bulldog's name is Lady. We rescued
lady,
her. Yeah,
oh.
she's fun. She's just a lady of leisure. She lays around. She's very busy. She's very
Oh,
judgy.
sweet.
I think that's good though. I think Thailand is really special, and there's a lot of beautiful places to visit in Thailand that are great. The last time I was there, I actually traveled on the Upper Mekong, which I hadn't done before. It was kind of a new boat that
Okay,
had launched, and so we sailed from Luang Prabang on the Upper Mekong River into northern Thailand, and we went to the
right.
elephant sanctuary. Um, and we stayed in this property. It had the bubbles. I forgot the name of it now. I'm trying to think.
Onantara.
Anantara, yeah,
Mhm.
or you could actually stay out with the elephants in a bubble for it was great for families. Yeah, I thought that was really pretty out there. And I hadn't been to Thailand in a really long time, but I always love going to Bangkok. So is Aman your favorite hotel in Bangkok?
I love it. It's brand new. It's it's right next to my office. So that makes it really, really convenient. Aman it's called. The other hotel that we really like in Bangkok is the new Capella,
Hmm.
which is on the river. So
Right.
for people who want to stay on the river, the Capella is an excellent choice. There are a lot of new. Bangkok has changed a lot since you would have last
Yeah.
been there.
Well, I was there a couple years ago, and I when the Capella first opened, and I thought it
Oh,
was,
okay, you were. So
yeah,
you have
yeah. And I
been
went
there.
across. I was at the Four Seasons, and I went across to the Capella, and I was like, wow, what a game changer! Like I would rather stay here than the Four Seasons. You know,
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's right next door. It is. Capella is, well, it's more expensive than the Four Seasons, and
it
we
wasn't that much more though. It was like $150. It wasn't a big deal.
really.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I thought so. Maybe it was because it's introductory, but the rooms were beautiful and the service was
Yeah.
amazing.
Yes. No, absolutely. So those two are excellent. Um, the Siam, which is up the river a little more, um, is also very good.
Like, how would you describe like 3 days in Bangkok if you've never been and you want to go? What would be like Catherine's 3 days in Bangkok?
Well, you have to start on the river and you have to take a klong tour, take a boat up the river and then go up these little channels to see how people really live in these little houses along the river. And that's really interesting. You see these crazy monitor lizards. Did you see those?
I did.
Yes, some of them are huge.
Very
They're like
big.
6 feet long, but they're harmless. So the river is really important in seeing Waterun and the Grand Palace. That's definitely Bangkok 101. Um, on this last Aman jet expedition, we actually ended we ended in Bangkok at the New Aman, and we privatized Jim Thompson House in the evening. We had a private tour and a beautiful dinner with performances. So I highly recommend doing special experiences like that. And then going to the different markets, the flower market, there are floating markets. Those are really interesting if you haven't seen many of them. But I mean, I always love markets.
Me too. What
So,
about night markets for you?
oh, I love night markets and doing food tastings. That's always fun.
I always
Um,
get questioned about food, like, is it safe? Should I eat in the night market? Is that okay to do that? And I
well,
always think it's fine.
depends on where it is, and you have
Hmm.
to have a guide who
Hmm.
takes you to the right food stalls. So if you're like in Singapore, it's pretty much all going to be fine. If you're in Bangkok or Vietnam or some other places, I would definitely go with a guide. In Japan, you could eat anything at any
Sure.
market, night or day.
Yeah, definitely. I love that. Does remote lands have relationships with people that are into conservation and wildlife?
Oh, absolutely.
And so with your panda program, how far in depth do you get with the pandas?
Well, in the old days, we could privatize the pandas. You'd have your own private panda keeper experience, and you would spend. So I did this, gosh, 15 years ago, where I had my pandas. I fed them. I made the food for them, the bamboo. I cleaned up after them. But you can't do that anymore, sadly. That China has cracked down on a lot of things, and the I guess because of corruption. So they've just made some things more difficult. So that's the pandas, but we're very much, I love animals so much, and the animals all across Asia.
Yeah,
But
I had the privilege of traveling with Dr. Baruta Gallicus. She just died recently, and I went to see the orangutans on Camp Leakey.
oh
Um,
wow.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I love traveling with her. I've traveled with all the, I mean, well, with Jane Goodall and with
Oh
Dr.
wow.
Gallicus. Yeah, and being
Cool.
exposed to the primates is something that's really interesting to me. So, what's the experiences like maybe in Malaysia and Borneo?
So Malaysian Borneo also has the orangutans and the proboscis monkeys. Um, and it's it's a little more polished than it is in, well, you went to Kalimantan
I
in
went to Kalimantan. Yeah,
Indonesian Borneo, but Malaysian Borneo has nicer lodges. There are helicopters, and but it is sanctuaries.
hmm
And you can either go on the river or you go uh, through the jungle. So that's really, really special. And then, like in Sri Lanka, we do a lot of wildlife experiences. You see the wild elephants. Um, in India, it's the tigers in these huge sanctuaries that are quite well protected. There's also leopards if you go to Jawai. Um,
We
and
just did that a couple of years ago. It was great.
oh, okay.
Yeah, I really enjoyed my trip to India to see the tigers, and we did see the leopards too. But it didn't compare to my trip to Sri Lanka. It wasn't about wildlife in Sri Lanka. It was just about Sri Lanka in general. Like
Hmm.
that, it's I was mad at myself. I wish I would have went there 30 years ago and been going ever since. Like I can't believe I just finally went there a couple of years ago, and I had the time of my life, and I can't wait to go back. Like, how often have you been to Sri Lanka?
Well, I first went for my honeymoon in 2003,
Wow.
and just this was actually the Civil War was still going on. So there were no tourists at all. Now, I can't say do what I do,
No.
travel to a country during a civil war, but we were perfectly safe. It was fine.
I think
Uh,
travel people just think differently than people that aren't travel people. That's all.
well,
We don't care. We go.
we're more of risk takers. We're more
hmm
intrepid,
hmm
and so
But where did you go on your honeymoon?
well, of course, we flew into Colombo. Then we went up to the Cultural Triangle to Anuradhapura and Polonnaruwa, which I'm sure you went to, and you saw the big rock, Sigiriya.
It's beautiful. I have a
Yeah.
great picture with me and a bunch of monks. Um, they were really fun to hang out with, and I climbed all the way to the top, and the view from up there was amazing. But that was what
Yes.
I mean, I just felt like Sri Lanka never felt so foreign but so familiar at the same time, and so familiar yet so foreign at the same time. Like I
And
really love all of that, and I loved how close everything was. With an hour, 2 hours, you're in the next experience, and it
mhm.
wasn't traveling and traveling and traveling. It was just very easy.
Well, there's so much variety in Sri Lanka. It's a small island, as you know, but there's so much. You have the beaches, you have the mountains, the jungles, you have incredible history. It's a Buddhist country, of course, so very different from India, which of course is Hindu. So that differentiates it, which is of course why you saw the monks. And then going down to Gaul, there are two Amans in Sri Lanka. So we do have expeditions that go to Sri Lanka. And the ancient walled city of Gaul is so cool. There aren't
I
that many.
loved that. I actually
Yeah,
stayed in the Aman there too. I forgot. It was the
yeah,
1600s Dutch naval headquarters. So that was
yes.
really amazing. I loved both Aman properties. They were gorgeous. The one up north had the beautiful beach.
Hmm.
Yeah, and the surf was so strong. I just remember like within 2 minutes you were zoned out, just really relaxed and thought, God, I could stay here for the rest of my life.
Yeah, it can be quite rough there, but
Hmm.
the
Oh,
views
that's what I loved about it. That was beautiful.
and it's in a beautiful location. And so just combining the two Amans, they're completely different, as you know. And
Hmm.
so just variety. Any good trip, as we know, is full of variety, different types of experiences, different geographical experiences, mountains, beach, city, rural, just a little bit of everything.
We also took the train and went up to the tea plantations too.
Oh,
And
nice.
I stayed up in the tea plantations and hiked. I really liked
Nice.
that a lot. And I liked Candy. I thought
Hmm.
Candy and the gardens in Candy were just so beautiful, and all the little craftsmen and all the little shops. And it seems like the people who are into creating jewelry or into creating these small, beautiful handcrafted experiences aren't here anymore. The kids aren't learning it. And so it's coming a thing of a past, it seems like. But in Candy, it was nice to see the younger generation learning from the older generation to pass on the craftsmen and the skills. Like I really loved seeing that there. That was
Hmm.
really special to me. But Sri Lanka, I don't know. I want to go back. That's one of those places I want to go back to. But I love what you get to do, and I love how you do it, and I love the way that you guys think. Tell me a little bit about what goes into making a great guide for you. Like what are some of the things that you love about your guides and about training them and their DNA? Because I think that differentiates you from everyone else.
Oh, well, thank you, Ralph. Well, emotional intelligence is really important. Being able to read the client, the guest. And so one thing I say to the guides is because everybody's different, every guest is different. Some guests want to have endless amounts of knowledge and want to hear everything, every little detail. Others, not so much. So I tell the guides when the client stops asking questions, give them some space or just ask them, would you like to hear more or would you like to have some time to yourself? So reading the clients, and if they keep asking questions, keep answering them. And if they want to have some time looking at their phones or doing something else, give them that space. So a good guide has to have the deep knowledge for the clients who want that, but also have a sense of humor, be be fun, and have a lot of stories. People want to hear stories, and they want to hear about what makes your country different from America. So, for example, I was just in Seoul, and I went to one of the markets in Seoul, and people are sitting there eating octopus, which is still moving. Like their plate has octopus on it that's still moving, and they're eating it, and it's moving food
It's just
live.
very, very fresh.
Yeah, it is very fresh, but like we're not used to that.
No, that would
So,
freak me out.
yeah,
I would
it's
like watching it, and I would want to do it, but it would take me a minute.
well, you're braver than I am,
Really?
Ralph. I just took videos and put them on TikTok. I didn't eat them myself. Another time I was in Hyderabad, and there's a big goat market there, and I after I left the goat market, I saw a motorbike with two guys on it, and they had four goats strapped to the motorbike, and I'm taking videos from out the window, and they're waving at me. They think I think they're hot because they don't to to
Well, because you're a
them.
blonde in India also,
Well, I guess I
and waving
stand
at a
out a
man.
little,
Yeah.
but they thought I was admiring them, but no, it was the goats. Like,
Yeah.
we don't have goats, four goats riding on a motorbike with two men.
Yeah.
Another time, in India, I mean, as you know, India is so incredibly colorful. There was a bus, and the Indians, when they don't have the rules that we have. So the bus fills up with the people, and then the people start hanging off the sides, and then they get on the roof. And there were like 30 guys sitting on the roof of the bus. And to them, that's perfectly normal.
Sure.
They don't know that we can't do that over here. So I'm taking video of them waving at them, and they're waving back, and
I
so
love that about travel. That's what makes it fun.
yeah, exactly, these differences. And so I just hope in I think we're lucky in our lifetime at our age that we've been able to see so many things, and it hasn't homogenized
Yeah.
entirely yet the
Right.
way.
I don't want it to. I mean, that's the fun of travel.
Yes, but it inevitably it will
It
more and
will.
more homogenize. You do see Starbucks, in the Forbidden City, and
Wow. I I don't know that I would go, but I mean it is what it is, right? Everybody wants to have what they want to have. It's just the way that it goes. But it's also I have an appreciation for things that we don't have here, especially the small markets, the small people doing their crafts. Like the artisan bakers, there's nothing better than fresh bread on a trip or
oh yeah.
stopping in and having a different kind of tea or coffee and just seeing what they're making. And I really like all that very much. I think one of my favorite things going back to Southeast Asia, back to Laos, I didn't expect the restaurant scene and the food to be so incredible.
Mm.
I didn't know what to expect, but that French influence was really lovely. And we had some really epic meals there that I thought were just wonderful. What would be some of your favorite restaurants that or favorite dining places around Asia, like that just stick out that you just never got over?
Well, my favorite food is Japanese food. So going into these little tiny holes in the wall and
Hmm.
having the best sushi you've ever had, the
Hmm.
freshest, the freshest fish that was just caught, that is amazing. I love the little sushi or even teppanyaki counters where there are only 8 seats, and you sometimes even have your own private chef who's right in front of you cooking just for you. That's really special and
They have so
healthy.
much pride in what they do too.
Oh yeah.
It's exciting. Yeah.
It's it is and this is what I try to educate clients, that you can't the Japanese take their food, their cooking so seriously
They're
that,
almost Italian.
well, but Italians are more flexible.
Do you think
And
so?
and the Japanese, you can't cancel. It's a huge insult to cancel at the last minute.
Oh,
And it's a huge loss of face because they put their heart and soul into picking the freshest vegetables that morning, getting the freshest fish that just came in, and or the Wagyu beef, where you know the cow's name, you know where the cow was born, you know the age when she was harvested. So it's trying to understand that. It's hard for Americans because Americans are like, "Oh, I'm tired. I don't want to go." No, it's like,
right.
no, you can't cancel this. This is a really
No,
big deal.
very
And
big deal.
and you just when you're in Japan, you've got to you've got to go with the flow, and and get outside your comfort zone and do things the Japanese way, because that's you're in their country. You have to take your shoes off. Don't complain about it. You know, even in your own hotel room, if you're in a ryokan and there's a tatami mat, like at the Aman in Kyoto, it's most of the room is a tatami mat. Do not walk in your shoes on the tatami mat, even if nobody's around, nobody would even know. It's just a like It's the honor system.
Yeah, it's great. I saw that United's going to start flying to Sapporo. Um, so that was kind of exciting. I've never been up there. So
Oh
what's that
yeah.
like? What would be some fun things to do there? Of
So skiing, of course, skiing
course,
in
being from
Niseko.
Colorado, we have skiing here, but we didn't have snow last year. So, it was like a lot of friends went to Japan to ski.
Yeah, well, in Japan we had 30 feet. The snowbanks are up to as high as the ceiling.
Wow.
It's crazy, and it's the driest powder in the world. It's so
Mm.
dry that you can't make a snowball.
Wow.
And the ski guides and the ski instructors, most of them are from Australia and New Zealand because they have the opposite season. So they spend their winters in Australia and New Zealand, and then they come to Japan, Niseko, so up in that's Sapporo's the airport for it, or in Nagano, where
We had the Olympics.
the Olympics were. Yeah, I was skiing there just this last winter in Hakuba, and
Mm.
looking out my window was that crazy ski jump.
Wow.
So that's and it's Niseko, it's a lot of foreigners now because it's
Is
like
it?
the cool place um to ski. And it has amazing accommodations. You have the onsens, you have incredible restaurants. So the whole scene in Niseko is really world class, plus the
And
snow, of
what would
course.
you combine it with if you wanted just to ski for a few days and then see the rest of Japan? Like, what would you do that time of year?
Well, if it's your first time, then of course you have to go to Tokyo and Kyoto
Hmm.
and then uh, go skiing in Niseko, ideally. Although there are many other ski resorts all over Japan. It's because there's so many mountains. So there are quite a few. I mean, I was driving all through Nagano. I drove by dozens of other ski resorts besides Hakuba where I was skiing.
Nice.
So if it's winter, you could also combine it with just going to Kyushu, which is the southernmost island, besides Okinawa. It's still too cold to go to Okinawa in the winter.
Because
It's
it's like
not,
Hawaii, but I didn't know when the seasonality was.
yeah, I mean, you can go, of course, but you're not going to it's not beach weather until a bit later. So, but
This
I
is
mean,
what I love about
Japan,
you. Like we have these conversations and just off your head, look at all this knowledge, right? All this knowledge and education and just here it all just comes out of you. It's so great to be able to work together like this. And we have some knowledge, but you're an expert and you're really great at what you do. And I love our relationship together. So when I call you, it's like very candid, very straightforward. Here it is, it's refreshing to work with people like this. And I don't think we would ever find this on AI, someone who's been there and done that and actually can tell you and knows, those things are very special for us.
well, we have a lot in common, Ralph,
Yeah.
but we're both endlessly curious, love learning, love exploring, we're adventurous.
Yeah,
You know,
definitely.
I'm 63 years old, and the thing I love about getting older is that, and I don't lie about my age the way some women do, which is sad. But anyway, I love getting older because every year I have so many more memories and experiences under my belt. And that's what makes us actually much more interesting people as we age.
Right. It's fun. I went to Africa twice this year, so I'm good. But I haven't gone to Asia this year, so I might. But I want to spend the summer here in Colorado traveling. But I do want to work with you and put a couple of things together, and I want to host some more trips. And I want to sit down with you, and I've got a couple of ideas that I want to explore. But I wanted everyone to kind of get to know my relationships with this podcast and understand who I work with and why, and and what it is we do together, and just kind of open up the doors for them to have some different thoughts and maybe explore new places. And I really appreciate you taking the time with me today to open up what remote lands is and share with everyone. And it just means a lot to have that time with you. So we have a lot to look forward to in the next few years. And even though you're only 63, you're never going to be allowed to retire. And
No, I know we work with these travel advisors who are in their 80s. They never retire.
No, they
So-
don't. I know a couple of them too that aren't going to retire too, and maybe I'll be one of them someday too. Who knows? But as long as we still have cool places to go and interesting things to see and do, I'm in.
And it's endless. And you
Yes.
know what? That keeps our brains stimulated. It keeps us interested in life. I mean,
Mm,
being in the travel industry, I feel so lucky that I found my calling in life. I was in tech for many years, 18 years,
that's a long time.
and I did not love it. And I wasn't that good at it either.
Right.
So I, it was so incredible when one day in 2005, I decided, what do I love doing when I wake up every morning? I love planning trips to Asia. That's that's what I love doing.
And that's
That's
what
what
you
I want to
do.
do for the rest of my life. And
Yeah.
so
I
so
did that too when I was 18. I went to travel school and
oh wow.
yeah, I moved to Vancouver, Washington, across from Portland, and I went to this little school called the International Air Academy.
Wow.
And afterwards, I worked for a very small little commuter airline, Horizon Air, and it's an Alaska Air subsidiary, which is not, I think, is a very big commuter airline. But anyways, I worked for them for a very short spurt until I got into the agency side. And when I
Hmm.
started working at the agency, I just thought, oh my gosh, how am I going to do all of this? There's so many places to go, and it's just been endless. And 36 years later, here we are, right? Like,
Wow.
I'm not going to stop. It's all I know, and it's all I want to know. It's just fun. And I think what I really love is reinventing ourselves. You kind of hit walls from time to time, and you have to find new things to drive you, and it's fun.
Mhm.
And so with the relationship business that we're in, having each other to be able to turn over stones and find new things and get re-inspired is really it's a wonderful perk, I think. So I appreciate you taking the time with me today, and thank you for making it, and I look forward to doing many more with us. So thank you. Thank you for listening, and I hope you learned a lot. If adventure calls you, don't hesitate to reach out to the expeditionist. I can't wait to explore with you. Your adventure awaits.